Everyone is a villain in someone else's story. These are the secrets Sigmas hide from the world, but Zetas don't. You watch, you judge, you flip the page. Sigmas hide because they don't want to be the devil, they'd rather be the silent accountant of consequences than the headline sinner. Zetas don't mind being the villain, they lean into the scorch mark and let the world read the wound. Alphas are loud and literal, an open book that wants applause, while you prefer margins and footnotes. This is the story of a lone wolf who got trapped. A video you need about the cost of silence, the comfort of shadow, and what it means to hide so well you forget how to be found. 1 Year circle. How many people do you actually trust? Not tolerate, not just work with, not just hang around. Actually trust. 1 or 2, maybe none, right? Sigmas are selective about connection. They test people slowly, watch for red flags, keep their distance until someone proves worthy. But Zetas? Zetas don't just protect their inner circle, they weaponize the space around it. Where Sigmas build walls, you build mazes with traps. Where they screen carefully, you eliminate instinctively. Alphas collect connections like trophies. Their value comes from how many people know them, follow them, validate them. They need the crowd's energy to feel alive. Sigmas reject this entirely. They'd rather have 2 real connections than 200 fake ones. But you've gone further. You've accepted that even real connections carry risk, and you've made peace with potentially having 0. Schopenhauer called this the porcupine dilemma. People need closeness for warmth but hurt each other when they get too near. Sigmas solve this by finding the perfect distance. Alphas ignore the spines entirely, collecting surface-level warmth. Zetas sharpen their own spines deliberately, making sure anyone who gets close knows exactly what they're signing up for. Studies on attachment theory by Bowlby in the 60s and later expanded by Ainsworth showed that early relationship patterns create blueprints for adult connection. Some people become anxiously attached, desperate for closeness. Others become avoidant. Zetas often fall into a category researchers later called dismissive avoidant, but that's misleading. You're not dismissing connection, you're pricing it accurately. Here's what separates you from Sigmas in this game. Sigmas hope to find their people eventually. They're cautious but optimistic underneath. You're restricted. You chose people, then control them. Control how much they can control you. It's a game of control. You don't fear being alone. You fear investing in someone who turns out to be another well-acted performance. Sigmas keep people at arm's length. You keep them at sniper range. And when someone does try to break through your perimeter, you don't just evaluate them. You stress test them until they either prove unbreakable or shatter completely. No middle ground. No maybe. Either they're built for your world or they're not. The cruel irony? The people worth having in your circle are often the ones tough enough to walk away from your test. So you end up alone, not because you wanted it, but because your standards for connection are higher than most people's capacity for authenticity. Alphas die without their audience. Sigmas survive with a few real ones. Zetas thrive alone, they choose when to enjoy it or not. 2. You see through walls while others worship them. Ever notice how you catch the tremor before the earthquake hits? That split second where everyone's still smiling, but you already know the room's about to collapse? You're not paranoid. You're just awake. Most people walk through life half blind. They see surfaces. They believe performances. They take words at face value like children reading their first storybook. But you see the architecture beneath the skin. This isn't some superhero origin story. Zetas don't choose this hyper-awareness. It's wired into their operating system. While others process social interactions like casual transactions, you're running multi-layered calculations without even trying. That colleague's forced laughter, the boss's calculated pause, the friend's eyes that don't match their enthusiasm, it all registers. Automatically. Relentlessly. Nietzsche talked about those who could endure the weight of truth. He said most people prefer their comfortable illusions. And he was right. Because when you see too clearly, you become dangerous to the consensus reality everyone's agreed to pretend is real. Here's where it gets darker. Sigmas learn to hide this, Zetas hide these instinctively. Not out of kindness or anything but for strategy. People get uncomfortable when they realize someone's reading their source code while they're still pretending to run the program. So you play along. You let them think their masks are working. You nod when they lie. You smile when they perform. Studies on social cognition by Baron Cohen in the 90s found that hypervigilant pattern recognition often correlates with social isolation. Not because these individuals can't connect, but because the gap between what they see and what others acknowledge becomes unbearable. You're standing in a room full of people discussing the weather while you're watching the power dynamics, the hidden resentments, the unspoken hierarchies playing out like chess moves. For Zetas, this creates a peculiar prison. You're surrounded by people, yet fundamentally alone. Because how do you connect with someone when you see all 17 layers they're hiding, and they can't even see layer 1? You don't. You observe. You adapt. You move through their world like a ghost with perfect vision. The burden isn't the seeing, it's the pretending you don't. 3. Sigmas do care. Do you ever catch yourself rating a comment before you even hear the whole sentence? Who said it, why they said it, what they stand to gain? You do care what others think, but not like they think. You treat opinions like currency, not gospel. You sort the useful from the noise with a quiet, ruthless logic. Studies on conformity by Solomon Asch, 1951, found groups bend the individual. Other research on cognitive ease shows repeated claims feel truer. You know these traps. You refuse to be swept by volume or repetition alone. This selective listening shields you from herd think, and sometimes makes you look cold. Alphas hide under applause. Their vulnerability is performance. They feed the mirror and then expect the world to pay rent. Alphas crave validation. They build loud absence into a stage trick that requires constant attention. Zetas hide like a blade. Their silence is pressure. Absence becomes weapon. Zetas don't politely ignore you. They erase the expectation you had of them. Sigmas are different. They weigh credibility, motive, and history. You ask, has this person built truth before, or do they sell comfort? You measure intent and outcome, not just words. This is not cynicism. It is an economy of attention, a practice of stoic pruning. This might sound harsh, but truth is not democratic. It is earned. Ask yourself, who teaches you, who tests you, who steals from you? Keep the teachers, bench the thieves, and never confuse silence for indifference. Number 4. Your brain won't stop, you don't show them. They think Sigmas are distant, total indifferent, but no. Do you ever wish you could flip a switch and give your mind a night off, even for an hour? Nietzsche talked about the Apollonian and Dionysian, the balance between rational analysis and instinctive flow. Most people lean one way. Alphas are pure Dionysian chaos, riding emotional waves without much thought. Zetas balance both like a pro. Sigmas trapped in hyper-Apollonian mode, analyzing the analysis itself until reality becomes a puzzle that won't stop revealing new pieces. You do not mistrust silence, you mistrust its consequences. Your mind keeps score, it draws maps and margins, it rehearses futures like a drill sergeant. This relentless draft of thought is not entertainment, it is survival. You sharpen hypotheses because life rewards anticipation, even when anticipation costs sleep. You suffer from clarity. You see paths others miss, and that sight never rests. Think of Killingsworth and Gilbert, who discovered mind-wandering ties to discontent. Your brain runs constant simulations, and sometimes it trades presence for perfect prediction. Neuroscience calls some of this the default mode network. It is where the self rehearses, it is where rumination sits and either makes you wise or it corrodes you slowly. You analyze tone like a metal detector. You parse motives like grammar. This is a power move. It lets you avoid traps and spot weakness. But there is a tax. Decisions stretch, opportunities pass, you stall while calculating every possible betrayal. Overthinking is a clever saboteur. It dresses as caution and punches your momentum in the face. Zetas differ. They do not loop endlessly, they break the loop by action. Noise becomes a signal, not a question. Alphas drown the noise in performance. Spectacle quiets doubt for a while. Sigmas, you oscillate between the three. You study, then hesitate, then act. The pause is your signature and sometimes your cage. What do you do with this noise? Will you weaponize it or will it weaponize you? Stoicism says, focus what you can move, dismiss what you cannot. Nietzsche says, channel anguish into creation. Combine both. Make your mind work like a tool, not the master. If your thinking never stops, teach it to build, not to bury. You can be the strategist who never sleeps, or you can be the planner who never moves. 5. You budget people. This might sound bad, but someone has to admit it. Social energy is a currency, and you are a careful accountant of it. Do you ever feel like smiling costs calories? Does making small talk feel like running a mile? You do not hate people, you ration them. Every handshake, every laugh, every meeting is a withdrawal from an invisible account, and you know the balance before anyone speaks. You move through rooms with practiced calm. Others think you are effortless, you know the truth. That ease is paid for in private. Late nights, silent walks, time alone to stitch the seams back together. You budget social appearances like strategic deployments. You show up where value is high and conserve where it is not. Alphas convert social energy into spectacle. They feed off the crowd and grow louder as the room feeds them. It is a loop that amplifies presence, but it eats privacy and makes opinion the price of admission. Zetas, brutal and lean, ignore currency altogether. They spend unpredictably, they withdraw attention and leave shock as interest. That sudden absence is a weapon. You, Sigma, are neither noisy spender nor reckless burner. You schedule encounters with the precision of a general. Sun Tzu would nod. Robert Greene would see the long game. You prefer fewer battles, cleaner wins, and the ability to vanish before people start expecting more than you owe. Studies such as Quiet by Susan Cain suggest solitude replenishes people who process inwardly. Research by Eysenck discovered different arousal thresholds for introversion. All this explains a fact: you live, socializing costs you more than it costs most. Use that knowledge like a map, not an excuse. Ask yourself, are you protecting energy or hiding? Zetas budget them on the field, they don't mind being their villain. Protection sharpens your edge, hiding blunts it. Budget people like capital, spend where returns compound, and never apologize for conserving what keeps you whole. Hope you're enjoying this video. Comment your opinion on this, thumbs this video up and share it with your friends who are being trapped in the Sigma suit. Buy me a coffee by joining the channel, thank you. I will keep posting these masterpieces. 6. You carry oceans, you walk like it's just rain. This might look noble, this might look soft, yet it is dangerous. Do you ever feel a tide inside you that no one suspects? You hold storms as if they were pockets of air. Others see calm, you feel currents. You experience grief, joy, shame, rage, all in their full weight, and then you fold them into your coat and keep walking. That concealment is not denial, it is containment, a deliberate economy of feeling. Think of Marcus Aurelius, who advised to examine the impression and let it pass. Think of Nietzsche, who turned pain into a ladder. You do both, you feel hard and refine harder. You do not leak emotion because leaking invites leverage, and you distrust the hands that reach for what they can trade. Studies found that deep processors, people who ruminate with high emotional granularity, show more empathy and also more exhaustion. This is not a flaw, it is a cost. You pay for depth with solitude. You pay with nights that replay conversations like knives. You are not cold, you are precise. You are not mute, you are choosing language. When someone asks if you are okay, you answer in a line that will not tell the shape of the wound. You learn to repair quietly, to convert pain into craft. This is stoic without spectacle. It is shadow work without confession. You turn feeling into architecture, emotion into an inner map that shows where to step and where to avoid. Ask yourself, will you keep being the silent deep one who saves others from waves, or will you build a harbor for yourself? This is not therapy talk, it is strategy. If you never ask for help, you teach others never to offer it. That truth hurts, but it is the sharpest tool you have. 7. Or the last one, the hidden debt. Do you ever want to drop the mask and see if someone catches you, knowing full well they might let you hit the floor? This might sound bad, this might look weak, yet it is true. You are exhausted from being the unbroken one, and exhaustion does not care for image. You hold the lamp for everyone else. They read by your light and never notice the flicker in your hand. You fix, advise, steady, and then pretend the repairs did not cost you anything. That cost is real, it piles up like unpaid interest. One day the ledger demands settlement. Stoic teachers said endurance is a virtue. Marcus Aurelius taught to meet pain with reason. Still, endurance without relief is not heroism, it is attrition. Nietzsche whispered that becoming requires suffering, but suffering without witnesses becomes isolation. You practice both, you pay both. He, the alpha, enjoys being seen carrying the load. Visibility protects him because applause buys him allies. The Zeta refuses to be seen carrying anything. Absence becomes intimidation and people collapse into motion. You, Sigma, carry silently. Your burden is invisible and therefore unshared. Research into help-seeking shows asking for help is suppressed by fear of social cost, and that suppression predicts worse outcomes long-term. You instinctively guard vulnerability because it has been used as currency against you. You hide help like contraband. You hoard it until it corrodes inside. Ask yourself, who taught you to be the unbreakable one? Who benefited while your seams grew thin? You can keep the armor, or you can learn to show a healed scar and teach others how to stitch. Vulnerability is not surrender. It is a disciplined reveal, a strategy. Use it like a tool, not a confession. If you never let someone see the cracks, you train them to expect perfection, and perfection is lonely. This is the last warning. Strength without sharing becomes a prison. Open a door not because you need pity, but because even warriors deserve a harbor. Thanks for watching.